Ray, welcome to Talking Ed. I'm a big fan of yours, I have to say, consultant to all sorts of things. And Ray, we've known each other for many years. And when I say I'm a big fan of yours, your newsletters, the range of clients that you work with, and then also you've got the history that brought you to consulting in the first place. So why don't we start there? What's a consultant?
Well, for me, it's a range of things. Consulting, uh, from my perspective at least, is helping people with the workflows, the processes, looking into root cause analysis and key metrics, those kind of things, formulating processes. I do a lot of coaching work in the senior leadership exec space, helping people behaviorally. A lot of that's time management and people management work. Because I work in the construction industry and broader industrial trade services, a lot of the guys have come up on the tools into management and two different skill sets. So I'm involved at the coalface of that. And then just a general business advisory. People will give me a call and pick my brain and yeah, a whole range of things in there. So that's kind of a summary from my perspective, at least.
So when you say the tools, you're not talking about you getting out the hammer and nails and showing me
No,
how to do that, though. What do you
no,
mean by
no, no.
that?
They'd want their money back if that was the case. So no, a lot of the guys I work with, they've done their apprenticeship in the trenches, for example, a plumber or electrician or civil, and then because of their skillfulness, their loyalty, their drive to make something of themselves and the company they work for, they obviously get promoted. And then when they come into supervisory or any kind of leadership position, from leading hand through to PM and above into the C-suite, a totally different skill set. And so that's often where my skills come in to upskill them.
So you're talking about essentially employees in this instance who have, as you said, gone up the ranks. And that would be somewhat different to someone who's self-employed and the work you do with them. So let's stay with where we are just now and talk about those that go up the ranks. How much support and education are you seeing these tradies getting from their employers before you come in the door? Obviously you've got something that the employers aren't offering in terms of education. Talk us through that.
Yeah, it depends on the size of the company. My smallest company I'm working with are two people, the business owner and a tradesman. The largest is 1,700 and everything in between. And so the larger the companies are, the more they invest into the formal education in the sense of workshops and different opportunities for training within the organization. The smaller guys, some of them really struggle with that, so they'll enroll them in external courses, send them to project management or estimating. But where I come into it is really in the coaching space, in more the soft skills, which I've actually realized are really hard skills. I did read the origins of soft skills, and but they're very difficult skills for a lot of them to master, and a lot of that's in the time management, people management space. So
Yeah,
of where they have to dwell.
yeah, and time and people, you say soft skills. I mean, everything is time. And if we
Yeah,
don't use it wisely, we don't get that back, do we? It's a resource that
that's
we've all
right.
got of equal value, but how much value we put into that is one thing. But what's interesting there is you also say people. So it doesn't matter which industry you're in, there'd be things that you'd be seeing on a fairly regular basis with this supposed soft skills. Talk us through some of those.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what industry. I mean, I could be working in a florist, a lawyer, accountant. I've done some of those, and government, which I've done as well, and they all have the same challenges. But on the time front, a lot of it is helping them planning's a big one. A lot of the guys I work with, they're quite honest in the fact that they, jump out of bed in the morning and run in the general direction of the day. And so I help them bring structure to the day and give them a little bit about if we were driving to Cairns, you put the destination in at the end and you've got a track to follow. That's essentially a lot of what I do to that. Then there's different things in that as far as delegation, scheduling, just thinking time is a lot of what people are challenged with as well, and a whole range of other things.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking, Tom. I was listening to a fantastic podcast the other day, and the gentleman that was being interviewed said the most valuable word in all communication is breathe. So you
Yeah.
stop and take a breath. You can
Yeah.
relate to that?
Yeah, well, I talk to the people I work with and talk to myself as well about running at around that 95% internally, mentally, just to take the pace off. Because some of the science around that and the research that's been done on that is that at running at that lesser pace actually helps us produce more. And so a lot of the guys I work with are under the pump well and truly. And so just helping them to step back, and it's better for their own mental health as well.
Yeah, so this sort of comes into the whole project management side of things if you're talking major trades and so forth and big business. So if they come into the job knowing that they've got this enormous project that's going to go essentially over budget and over time and all that sort of thing, how do they manage that within themselves, and what do you do there in terms of educating them on these soft skills?
Well, really just to be able to, chunk those larger projects down, and that comes into the project management space for construction. Now, I don't get into the actual, like I said before, the building side or any of that, but it's just being able to help people work with a calendar and say, okay, well, over the next 4 weeks, I need to have achieved this over here. What do I need to do, and pace it out? Because a lot of people, including myself, have the propensity to think we have to do everything today. And so then we get home fried of a night because we've tried to accomplish a week's work in one day. And so just helping people pace and defer. What's really interesting is the word procrastinate technically means belong to another day, belonging to tomorrow. And so I'm saying that the best planners are the best procrastinators.
That's fantastic.
We have a negative tone on it in today's culture, but really the original word means that. So I help people procrastinate.
That's fantastic. And you've tapped into something really critical here, and that's language. And my expertise in education, I'm always coming back to language and ensuring that we're on the same page essentially. And
Yeah.
you've also tapped into the origins of the words and how we can be applying them today by learning from their where they stem from. And great procrastination, we all do that. And now you're saying it's terrific to do. More procrastination. Something you said earlier as well, you mentioned florists, and it's brilliant because the word, you hear of trade and you hear of manufacturing and construction, you immediately think blokes and hard tools. And floristry, it's a trade, and incredible talents, incredible creativity, but the same disciplines required. Tell us a bit about your experience there.
Yeah, well, I find in that and a lot of other companies is that it's really those same processes as overlay. And so I did work with a company in the HVAC space with their customer service team and how to engage with customers on the phone and via email. And the same applies for whether it's a florist, a hotel, a bar. I've worked in hotels as well with their staff and just helping that customer engagement. So it's very similar right across the board. It just happens that I've fallen into the construction space and I love it as well. So that's, I work outside of that, but that's my main zone.
And so when you're educating and people are finding out what you've done, does word of mouth come into your business? And if it does, how does it sort of flow for you in terms of your time management?
As far as incoming business,
Yeah, I mean, people would say, "Oh, Ray, just had this great consultant, Ray Hodge. You've got to have a chat to him." Someone talks to you, you've got someone therefore that says, "Ray, I really need you. I've heard from someone else," which is a great endorsement. That's what we all want, isn't it, in this industry? But your books are full. You've already got your clients. Your time management is actually juggling the needs of others, essentially.
yeah, I'm just an avid calendar user. That's and the other thing with my calendar is that I'm a big believer in white space. So I call my calendar my anti-anxiety pill. And what
Mm.
happens with, because I've struggled with anxiety over the years, and between every meeting I allow about 30 minutes. And a lot of my meetings are on Zoom, but even like today, I've been out, I get back, and then I allow white space. That helps me to breathe. So if got something incoming, I've got spaces to put it.
And
That's,
that, yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, you mentioned anxiety, and I think this is one of the reasons why I'm also a big fan of yours is your honesty. And truth is so important. And to be able to say, hey, I've had anxiety, I get it. And you've got these clients that you're working with who are under the pump. It must, sort of lend itself to them opening up to you as well.
yeah. I went through a really dark spot many years ago through depression. I call it my bridge jumping territory time. And it's kind of funny now, but it wasn't so much then. Well, it wasn't at all then. But when I share that with people, and sometimes I'll get it's like I intuit there's something in that space. And sometimes I'll just share, in the course of conversation, the journey I went on. And that then, because I've dropped my guards and I've expressed some vulnerability, I find it's often reciprocated, rapport builds, and we can fast track through that space. And I found that's been gold. So uh, what was a dark spot has really become a light gift, a gift of light in some senses. So
Yeah, and it's true too that that fear of sharing for many, you've opened the door to say, "Hey, it's okay to
mm,
share." It's building that trust. I suspect there might also be some resistance sometimes, where someone will say, "Hang on, if he's being depressed, there might be a problem there. Can we really trust him?" Does that happen as well?
I don't know. Maybe it does, but I've been working with. What have I been working with of late? 24, 25 individuals. And a number of those are in the mental health space through a different program I'm working out of South Australia. And yeah, I haven't so much found that. So I always pick resistance as being the person not used to sharing it, not sure if they want to share it all. And I'll refer people onto their GP or different other services. I'm not a psychologist, but I certainly study it most days along with behaviorism, and so I'm across a lot of it. But yeah, I find that the key thing in it all, and I do a lot of work with business owners as well. So I work from the ground up and then business owner level down. And I find the more personable people are, that uh, rapport and trust is built a lot quicker through being personable if you're accessible. So I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway.
Oh, it does. It absolutely makes sense. So you've led us down that path of working with employees, and it sounds like these great employee programs. So there's employers supporting that space, still employing people that need support elsewhere outside of the workplace. Excellent education concept for businesses to do that, and it sort of keeps the boundaries there so that
Yeah,
personal lives aren't sort of shared around the staff room table or
yeah,
other places.
that's
we,
right. Yep,
I mean, we've both had that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But it also means that uh, it likely gives you insight. You mentioned working with one business of only two staff, and I say only respectfully because it's a
yeah,
small
yeah, yeah,
business that
yeah,
the lifeblood of our country.
yeah.
So you'd bring a lot to that as well in, I suppose, what you're learning from your bigger clients and the needs of staff in that space. Yeah,
Yeah, and then I bring a lot to the larger clients from the smaller guys as well. So,
great.
and really, you know, you get a one man band who's got a full book and run off his feet and stressed, and then you've got a business owner with a company of 100 people or 500 people privately held. They're struggling with a similar thing. Different. Obviously, it's nuanced, but it's again not too dissimilar.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sitting there, and whilst we're talking here, I'm watching you, constantly juggling in your own mind the what's next for these clients because of your knowledge, but also that combination of your life experience and your business knowledge. You came from the finance background as well, so
Yeah.
you've just got so much to give. Uh, when's it going to stop, Ray? Are you ever going to retire?
Well, for some reason, I'm getting to that age where people are starting to ask me, and it's like, oh, I, I actually, I never think about it until someone asks me about it. I've not planned it, but my love underlying consulting is and speaking and writing. Well, underlying consulting and speaking, because I do quite a bit of speaking, is research, reading, and writing. And so that, when I'm probably too old to stand on a stage or I have to wheelchair myself into a client, I'll probably happily sit and, read, research, write. I've just read Carl Jung's autobiography, and he wrote that when he was 83. And very lucid at that age. And yeah, I that kind of stuff inspires me. So, and
I,
I find the research, reading, writing just keeps me sharp, keeps us, keeps helping me ask myself questions that then comes out in conversations, and I find it's much more effective and sharper.
Ray Hodge, you're on 88.9 FM, and you've just told us right here, right now, that despite your many years of experience, your career is just beginning
Yeah, that's
because
right.
there's more to come at the age of 82. Hey? Ray, thanks for joining us. Before you do go, how do business leaders in trade and manufacturing get in touch with you?
rayhodge.com.au